Hi, this is Kim White with the My Sexy Business team. I am here today to talk to you about something that is very sexy, depending on if you understand it. And that's, have you learned how to master your credit? I'm here with the famous or infamous, depending on how well you know him, Mr. Dave Albin, one of my BFFs and biz besties. Welcome, Dave, to My Sexy Business.
Hi, Kim. Nice to be here. Always. You betcha.
Dave is actually one of the nation's top experts in credit. And you think you know about credit, and then you start talking to him and you realize you really don't know very much about credit. He has got so many secrets, so many hacks on how to improve your credit, how to do things that even if your credit's okay, it will make it better. Or if you've got creditors calling you, he can help you with what to do about that. The thing that I asked him to do this series for is because our mission is to help you create a sexy business for a sexy life. And there is nothing less sexy than having people try to hunt you down because of credit issues. And so I want to make sure that everyone who's following us has access to Dave and to all of the tips and tricks and hacks that can cure that problem. Look, we are definitely puppy people. So Dave is going to do this series for the next 5 days. He's going to give us a hack or a tip on how to improve our credit. Like, he's going to give us something to do every day, and it's going to be amazing because we're going to do it, and it's going to be awesome. And it's okay if your puppy barks.
Cool. Because if not, I got big audio issues. Actually, he's hungry. He wants to get fed every single day, twice a day. And so,
can you believe it?
It's funny, when you do the clocks, right? He doesn't know it's 5 o'clock. He thinks it's 5 o'clock when you change the clocks. So he's not into the whole daylight savings time, right?
That's funny. Well, my puppies are listening for him to say something to them again, I'm sure.
Yeah, he'll start barking because of mine, I figured I'd jump right in there. We don't have like Angie's dog where it's a Great Dane, but still, Well, Kim, thank you for asking me to do this. I'm honored. This is a big deal. This is secretive information. This is an area of people's life that they just don't ever master. They don't learn it. It's not taught, and it's really difficult to get accurate information that really works. And so, if it's okay with you, what I'll do is I'll maybe tell the audience, what happened to me. Because there was really something pretty catastrophic here that happened that caused me that I had to go figure this out, right? It was either that or suffer. So there was a lot of pain involved. So many of you are going to remember, the mortgage bubble shabacle that happened back in 2008, 2009. Lehman Brothers failed. Washington Mutual Bank failed, largest bank failure in our planet's history. When that whole thing went down, anybody that was in the housing market or you had to deal with homeowners for the most part, you came to a screeching halt. I mean, literally, I had a business, right, that was doing, really, really well. It was a great business. It was driven by credit, home ownership, families. We were doing alarm systems, and we were an installation company and sales and service. And, we were doing really well. And one day, boom, just like that, we got cut off. There was no income. I went to zero. And there was nothing I could do about it, right? I'm not a deadbeat. I pay my bills. I pay my taxes. I'm a vet. I mean, come on. I'm hot dog, apple pie, and Chevrolet, right? And so, and don't hate me, all you Ford people out there. Don't even start with me. So, I went into scrambling mode. Just to kind of fast forward it, I fought really hard. I learned a lot, but we lost the farm to foreclosure, the house to foreclosure. My wife and I went through a divorce. I had a heart attack. And, you know, we lost everything, left Virginia, moved to North Carolina, and we basically rebounded there. And so it was fight my way out. So it destroyed my credit, literally destroyed it. I jokingly say when I started learning about how to fix it, I needed a cosigner to pay cash, right? Which is funny, but it wasn't funny at the time, I can tell you. It was
Didn't feel funny.
It is. But that's how bad it was. I memean, literally, I couldn't, my credit was in the toilet. It was in the tank. So I'm on Facebook one day and there's an ad and it says, you know, mother of two with bad credit, you know, digs her way out and learns the credit game and took her credit from the low 500s to the high 700s. Well, you can only imagine, you know, how substantial that would be if you were able to do that and your credit was as bad as mine. So I bought the book for $39 and they sent it to me and I got it, Kim, and I read it. And I remember I put it down and I went, okay, that will work. Let's read that again. And I read it again, you know, and then I read it again and I highlighted it. Then I listened to the audio a couple of times. And that's when I went, okay, this could be the real deal. So I started taking action based on what it's really connect the dots. That's all it is. The book is so easy. And I just did exactly what it taught me to do. When my credit went, you know, it was down like this and went whoop, and it just started going up. Well, what happened is that the cool thing about it is there's a Facebook group. For those who want to, you know, you could buy a VIP package. And if you wanted to be part of the Facebook group, you could go in there and ask questions and be part of that group. And it was like $20 a month, I think it was. Or I could pay a one-time fee for it, whatever. So anyway, there was about 9,000 people in there. And I went in there and I got so good at the book, people would ask questions. And I go, well, that's on page 27. Well, that's on page 133. It's right there, man. Come on. It says it. You know, you got to read this thing, right? So next thing I know, the husband and wife team that wrote the book, Scott and Allison Hilton, they reached out to me. And they were like, dude, you're really good at this. And you're really good with people, talking to them and coaching them and helping them and doing all that. And I'm like, well, that's what I do. Well, he's like, well, what do you do? And I go, well, I've been in the personal development industry, right, for 25 years. And I used to work for Tony Robbins and Wayne Dyer and T. Harv Eker and all these guys. And he goes, you worked for Tony Robbins? You know, he was a big Tony fan. He had been to a firewalk. And so we really hit it off. And then he basically offered for me to go into the Facebook group as an admin and as a support person and help his clients. And I started doing that. Well, now we have over 34,000 people in that group. We've sold about 130,000 books. We did a Larry King infomercial last year when we filmed it in Beverly Hills. We were 38th in the country, and now that Larry King, you know, it's you can see it. It's called "Is Your Credit in Crisis?" A Larry King special report. I'm in it. They brought me in because I was an expert, and it was really cool. And then within a very short amount of time, a few weeks, we went to #1, and we've been there ever since. So for me, when I got there, one of the things I did is I wrote down, okay, why? What's my why? What's going to happen to me in my? Sorry, go ahead.
I'm going to back you up just a minute because you are I love it because you are so passionate about this, but I don't want people to skip over some of the really important parts.
Okay.
You know, you were not just not wanting to pay your bills.
Of course
you weren't running from paying your bills.
No.
You were a vet, which is very fitting today as we observe Veterans Day. So thank you for serving. And you know, you were working. You weren't trying to be, as you said, a deadbeat or, you know, and there's a lot of people out there who are in a position that they didn't ask to be in. When they signed that paper that they were going to pay their mortgage, they meant it. And through life, you know, life happenings, things happen. And so I want to point that out, that this is not just for Dave Albin. This is not just for, you know, a certain person. This information that you're talking about actually affects and impacts all of us.
That's absolutely. If you watch the Larry King report, he says 1 out of 3 people have problems, have bad credit. 1 out of 3 in America. Now, so that day that happened, let me back up. You're absolutely right, Kim. Millions of Americans got crushed. They all went into the tank with bad credit. Was it their fault? No, absolutely not. The banks pulled the plug. This was a Lehman Brothers. I mean, these guys, it was derivatives. It was the market. It was Wall Street. It was all that stuff. It was bad. I mean, and the American people got their what's handed to them. And it wasn't their fault. They were paying their bills and going along and selling houses and doing stuff, So, the bottom line is, bad things happen to good people. And that's what happens here, right? Because, people get in car wrecks. People have medical conditions. People, they get hurt. They fall on the ice or the snow. I mean, there's so many different things that can happen to you. And just like that, no fault of your own, your credit tanks. People don't wake up one day and go, I'm not going to pay my bills today, and see if I can ruin my credit. No, it doesn't work like that. Now, are there people out there that are going to take advantage of the system? Well, of course they are, but they're going to do that's the old 80-20 rule, all those numbers mathematically. That's what that is. Yeah, because if something's happened to you and it's not your fault, okay, so what's going to happen to you? So what happens if somebody claims bankruptcy in this country? They hold it against you for 10 years. What? Well, wait a minute. Time out. I can see maybe 2 years, but you destroy a family's life for 10 years. I don't agree with that. That doesn't resonate with me at all. And granted, I had to go through it because of what happened to me, right? Because I tried to save my farm and this, and I used credit cards, and I was trying to save my family. And so you're going to do whatever it is you got to do. So yeah, you're absolutely right. There's millions of people in this country that have dings against their credit for no other reason other than something happened to them, or it's happened to them and they don't even know it. What about identity fraud? What about how somebody steals your identity and they go out there and they ruin your credit? What happens to you? Was that your fault? No. So this is really great information to have, period. Just so that you can be the credit guru, if you will, in your own family. You can buy that book and your credit's fine. But what happens to, one of your brothers or sisters or a nephew or a cousin or whatever in your family, and it's happening to them? You can help them.
Sorry.
So what's interesting about this, Kim, is, Larry King says in his report, there's 3 certains in life. And again, you'll watch the report. Larry says it himself. There's taxes, death, and credit. And so credit isn't taught in high school. It's not taught in college or universities. Who took you out and taught you about any of this? Well, first of all, they don't want you to know. There's no upside for the community and American people to have good credit, because the credit companies make money on bad credit. The banks make money on bad credit. They can charge you more interest. That's the system. That's the game. So I look at this as a game. And guess what? Davey got really good at it. Well, I mastered it. I killed it.
I'm going to pause you again.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
I want to go back and make sure that everybody heard that part, that bad credit makes the banks and lenders, the credit companies, it makes them money because they charge you all the fees and they charge you all the higher interest. They charge you all of those things that, maybe that's something that someone doesn't realize, because you think, the banks are looking just for people with good credit, but the bad credit that they let go through, they're banking on the fact that you're going to pay fees and you're going to pay that high interest.
Kim, think about it. Okay, let's use a little. Let's show your audience some absolute facts. There are industries built around bad credit. There's these loan shark companies that are out there, and what do they call them? Check cash, where you have your job and you go and cash your check, and real high interest loans, and insurance companies that prey on people that have bad credit so they can charge them more for their insurance. They sell cell phones. They do it all because they have to cater to people that have bad credit. It's huge in this country. It's massive. Some guys that are behind the scenes here with me come out of the industry. I'm rubbing elbows with guys that have worked for Equifax, who've worked for MyFICO, who've ran one of the largest debt collection companies in the state of New York. So I know what's going on behind the scenes. And so when they say, don't pay any attention to the man behind the curtain, you better pay a whole lot of attention to the man behind the curtain. And so again,
you better pay real close attention.
You better pay real close attention. So yeah. So again, I just went and I mastered it. And because, you know, for me, it was like my family was in the balance there. That my motivation was my grandson, you know, the whole thing, right? So I knew I had to get this figured out. And I did.
I want to like put some numbers to what you're saying.
Okay.
As of 2017, there are 325.7 million people in the U.S., not talking Canada or anywhere else, just the U.S. 300. I don't know if you guys can see it or not.
We'll take, I can't, you can't, but that's okay.
1/3 of that is 108 million plus people who are in credit crisis.
Right. That's just that one number. You can't even figure then the other number.
So if you're feeling like you're the only one that's going through this, or you're feeling, you know, ashamed, or you're feeling embarrassed, there are 108 million other people in this country feeling the same way.
Or even worse.
Or even worse.
Right? I mean, because in my case, I got crushed. Come on, heart attack, divorce, foreclosure. You lose a beautiful farm that you had, a beautiful home. Your whole, it's like a bomb came through your front door and it blew up and blew your family to pieces. So, and again, it's whose fault was that? It wasn't. It was the banking industry as a whole. It was Wall Street, and again, the American people took a huge hit. So the bottom line is, the cool thing is that everything happens for a reason, and I'm kind of the kind of guy that I want to get it figured out. I want to know at a high level, and so I did. So I went in and mastered it, and I did the book, and now I teach it, and now I coach it, and so that's in addition to what, you know, all my other crazy things that you know that I do. And so yeah, so we want to give your audience, you know, I'm going to teach you guys 5 things, and they're going to be my gift to you. And if you do them and you use them, monetize it. I'm telling you. You know, when I bought the book, Kim, I sat down and I looked at it, and I finally sat down and after I went through it, I said, what is this book worth? What's it worth to me and my family? So it's been worth over $500,000 to me already.
Yeah.
2 years, $500,000. And I'm on my way to $1 million, because without that book to fix what I had to fix to get my business going, which, you know, Firewalk Adventures, right? Then guess what? I wouldn't have been able to do that. And I wouldn't be where I am right now. So yeah, credit can be everything. And so you really want to, and it's really simple. It doesn't have to be complicated here. The book will take you through all that. But at the end of the day, that's, you know, we're going to give you guys a link. If you want to buy the book, great. If you don't, again, I'm going to give you 5 tips. They're yours anyway.
Yeah.
Just do yourself a favor and use them.
Well, and I think that's something I want to address real quick too, is that we are going to put a link that does cost money in the comments, because if you want more of the tips, they're going to be in that book. But you're going to give 5 things that we can do this week to start moving towards better credit. And I think that's another important thing to acknowledge, is that you are doing this as a favor for all of my followers, because you're coming on and giving them a gift that none of us know this stuff. You know, none of us have been taught this, and there is basically no credit school. And another thing too I want to address really quickly is, we're not saying go out and get credit. We're saying, you know, repair what's going on with you and make it better. We're not part of the credit industry who's out there saying, come get this credit card for 30%. We're trying to help you avoid all of those kind of things.
Right.
I just want to make that, like, I just want to say those things out loud.
Critical. Yeah, great. Thank you for clarifying that. Absolutely. Look, they're playing you. I'm going to show you how to play them. That's how this is going to work. And so I'm going to put you in a very empowering position, unlike anything you could ever imagine. You know, you think about getting at, let's say your credit's a 660 and you don't know, and you're not really paying attention, not your fault. You don't know what you don't know. And then a month later, or 2 months or 3 months, now you're at 770. You know what happens if you go to get a mortgage with that kind of a credit score? You change 1 point or 2 points on a mortgage over 30 years, amortize it. You don't even want to see that number that you're giving them if you don't do this.
Yeah.
So that's how the game is played. Again, they're playing you. I'm going to show you how to play them. So,
well, depending on your interest rate and your points, you know, you can pay $500,000 for $100,000 house.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
That's one of the things that is just facts. I mean, that's not something that, you know, you make up for drama. That is like fact. There are people out there paying those kind of crazy prices because they don't feel like they have an option.
Right. Exactly. Because the question is, well, how do I fix my credit? I don't know. Where do you do it? You don't. You know, until this book came out, there were a lot of fly-by-night stuff that went on out there. You know, people that would fix your credit and do that. And you know what? First of all, they can't do that. They can't fix your credit. You can't pay them to do that. That's not the way this works. There's laws that will protect you, because credit is so bad that there's been so many predators out there that will go after you, and they'll make these false promises, and they'll do this and they'll do that, and they'll never do it because they don't know, you know, they don't know what we know. That's for sure, because this is a self-help situation. You buy the book, you got yourself into it. This book's going to get you out. That's really what it boils down to. And so, and I recognize the value of the book. So, you know, yeah, it's just.
I'm going to slow you down just one more time too about the book. I love the fact that this is not even a book that you wrote that you're selling like your own book. This is something that you used that worked for you, that got you out of that situation, and thousands of other people. And all we're doing is sharing that, and you're sharing some of the things that you did to improve yours and to really change the outcome of what happened.
Guys, I have so many testimonials. I can give you a testimonial link, and you can just bore yourself to death with thousands and thousands and thousands of people that are going to come tell you similar stories of what I just told you. A girl I work with really closely now, she helps me on the admin team because it's gotten so big that I need help. When I started, we had 9,000. Now we got 34. Help! And so Jen came in. Jen got here. Her credit score was in the low 400s, or excuse me, the 400, the high 400s. It was under 500. She just moved in her new house 2 weeks ago. She was a clerk in a municipal court. She was also a clerk in a federal bankruptcy court. So she's been a big help there. But I get this all the time on my Facebook page. And if you decide to buy the book and you want to join, and you need to join the Facebook page, you'll see us on there. You'll see all the people that, you know, they bought a house, they buy cars, they get credit cards, all, you know, they share with us, which is really, really, really cool. So anyway, without further ado, if you're good, unless you have something else, I'd like to just give your clan what's going on here, some tips.
No, I would love that. And I want to point out too, the rest of the week, we're going to be on at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time with a tip every day. It won't be as long as today's, because we wanted you to have the backstory of why this even matters today. Like, what is important for us? It's about making sure our followers have sexy lives. And for you, you live this. And I can't think of a better way to serve our followers than to help them with this kind of stuff.
This can have so much pay it forward to it that it's unbelievable. In fact, when you read the book, it's going to tell you, pay it forward. So help your family, help your friends, help your neighbors, help your community, whatever you need to do. Because, you know, if we raise the elevation of the American people here, man, it can radically change this country. So with that said, I'll just stop there. So to monitor your credit, you got to be able to read it. And so there's several different companies out there. You've got, you know, the three main credit bureaus are Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. Those are the companies we're going to focus on for now. Those are the ones that your banks and your car dealerships and, you know, when you credit cards and you apply for credit, they're going to use one of those three. And And so with that said, I'm gonna teach you one thing here, but we're only going to take advantage of their website, and that's a company called Credit Karma. And so let me just say this: I'm going to speak for me. I would never, under any circumstances, buy anything off their website, ever. What I would do is go get a free copy of their credit report and use what they're selling you, and that's a free credit report. Now, that Credit Karma is only going to cover Equifax and TransUnion. It does not give you an Experian score. Don't worry about it. What we want to do is go look at your credit, look at all your creditors. Let's look at administratively, what does it look like? Do you have different names? Is your name spelled correctly? Do you have a bunch of different addresses because you've moved around? Do you have different employers? Is your birth date correct? Is your social security number correct? Are all these things correct? Because if they're not, your score goes down. Mm. You have 15 addresses on there, those got to go. If you have 22 employers on there, they got to go. You need one. You need one address. When you move that off and you get all that cleared up, guess what happens? Your score could jump 30, 40, 50 points right there. And all you did was clean up your administrator. So in our book, that's one of the first things we teach. We teach you, this is where you're going to start. You start with your administrator. So basically all you have to do is, write a letter to the credit bureaus to just say, hey, my name is so-and-so. I live here. I've noticed that you have this on my credit report, this address, this, that. I want them removed. I don't live there. I've never lived there. Whatever you need, whatever's going on with you, you tell them. And very respectively, you send it certified mail. You have to put your social security number on the letter, and you get it cleaned up. So that's the goal. Go get a copy of your credit report, and then we can help you. I'll help you with that admin part. But here's the real tip that I want to give you on day one. And I love this because it's such a huge misconception in the marketplace. If I go ask 100 people, 95 of them will tell me this, and it's not this, it's that. And again, they hide this from you. And that is how you pay your credit cards. So what I mean by that is, let's say that you went out, Kim, and you went to XYZ store and you spent $200 on your credit card. And you're one of these people that races home and pays it off. Right? I mean, within like 24 hours or when you get the bill or whatever. All right. So you don't want to do that. What you want to do, let's say you had a zero balance on your credit card and you went for Christmas and you spent $1,000, right? And you have $1,000 in the bank savings account. You're going to pay it off, whatever you're going to do. So a lot of times you'll pay it off. Don't do that. Leave a small balance. $20. Pay off $9,980 of the darn thing. That's fine, but leave $20. In fact, you want to take every credit card you have, and you either want to buy a tank of gas every month with it, or buy a buggy full of groceries, or whatever you want to do, and keep that going. Because the interest on $20 is nothing. But the algorithms of the credit bureaus are watching that. Oh, she made a payment. See, if you're zero, you're not making any payments. Does that make sense? Pretty easy to get your mind across. Well, the algorithm sees that, so your score is not going to go up. But if all of a sudden it sees that you made 5 payments in a row, it goes whoop. And here you are thinking you were doing the right thing and the smart thing with your credit card. And this is a trick that the credit card companies don't want you to know. Now, here's the other thing. Here's another trick they use. Oh, you're not using it? Oh, Kim, you haven't used it for 6 months? We'll cancel it. Because they're not making any money. So their computer's reading that you're not using it. So my point here is just use it. Buy a thing of groceries, buy a tank of gas, and use your credit card. And even if it's only $20 a month, pay them $10 a month. And then use it another $10 or $20 and just do that every month. Now, I'll give you even more and more tip on top of that one. and that is, well, what happens if I miss a payment and then I got to worry about it? And okay, great. You can go down that road if you want to. I wouldn't recommend you do that because this is learning how to play the credit game. And you want to get really good at it. Then just call your credit card company or go online and set up an automatic payment. That way, on the 26th of the month, when your payment is due, it'll take the minimum payment. So if it's $10, you were going to pay $10 anyway, then just let it do that. Then that way you can't screw up.
That's actually the thinking behind mine. I use it so I don't lose it, but I don't want to miss that payment because I'll forget. And so I love that. And I didn't know to leave a balance or I didn't show I was making payments.
Right.
So, I mean, I think those are great tips to do today. And you're not telling anyone to go out and buy something they're not already going to buy. I think that's another really good tip is you're not going out to get into debt.
No.
You're just getting your credit aligned so that you won't be in so much debt when you are talking your mortgage or your car payment or even paying insurance.
All of it. Credit affects everything. If, let's say you were offered this unbelievable job, they check your credit.
Yeah.
So how many of our audience have not gotten a job because of a credit issue? Well, if you're watching this video now, guess what? This could be your lucky day. This is your answer to prayer, boys and girls. So here it is. You know, this is really great. Master this. It's going to radically change your life. Not just a little bit. Oh yeah, it was really kind of cool. No, boom, it blows up. I'm going to put one more tip on top of this one. I'm sorry, I can't stop. For example, look at what I do. I take a Discover card and I pay all my home bills. I pay everything. So that can equate to a couple $1,000s a month, right? Because I'm buying groceries, I'm buying, everything for my home. And I get 3 to 5% back every single year on that Discover card. Well, you know what that looks like? Do the math. Spend $30,000 on a card. What's 5% of 30 grand? Okay, so there it is. That's in my pocket now just because I know how to play the game and I learned it. So again, what this is going to be about for a lot of the listeners is going to be, look, you don't know what you don't know and it's not your fault. My job is to get you to a place where you know that you know. And once I get you there, then guess what? Now the rest is on your own. You're ready to go. You're self-contained. You can teach it to your family and you can just radically talk about a sexy business. If you don't have your credit, you can't have a sexy business. You just can't. How hard, especially when you're sitting around worrying about this and worrying about that. So yeah, there you go. So that's day one. So I'll shut up or I'll keep talking.
We have to stop because you're giving away all the tips, right? You've still got way more to give. I think those are incredible tips. I'm going to recap real quick. Go to Credit Karma and get the free credit reports, the 2 that you can get.
Yep.
Look at your credit. Make sure your addresses, your name, your phone number, your social security number, your birthday, all those things are right. And if they're not, write a letter, send it certified mail.
Return receipt.
Also get your credit cards and use them so you don't lose them. And leave a $20 balance to pay payments on, which will charge you very little in interest, but will show up on the credit report that you're making payments instead of paying it completely off and showing that you didn't make payments at all.
Right. And
I think those are amazing. I think those are amazing tips. I can't wait to hear what you have for us tomorrow. 8 a.m. Central Standard Time in the morning. We're going to be back on with tips for episode number 2. And we will see you then. Thank you, Dave Albin, for doing this.
My pleasure.
This is Kim White with the My Sexy Business team. We are here to help you create a sexy business for a sexy life, including getting your credit mastered from the expert Dave Albin. See you guys tomorrow.
You guys, see you tomorrow.